But anyway, I just think that it comes at a real crucial time that the government trying to impose this gun ban, because then you also have rumors of these FEMA camps that are being spread out across the countries. And if you think about it, I know Pennsylvania, they've increased their budget for prisons. And
Mm-hmm.
who's to say that these FEMA camps, aren't another institution like a prison?
Right. I mean, we all know in Pennsylvania that Governor Corbett, didn't feel as though that education was something that was, something that was worth enough money to write in his budget. So, of course, we all know that education has been slashed in Pennsylvania and that there's been
Particularly
more
Philadelphia.
exactly strict, especially Philadelphia and Chester for that matter. And we
Yeah.
know that a lot of those monies that were going into education is now being poured into the prison system. So
So you make the state and the government more money by being in jail than you do out here on the streets, because not only out here on the streets do you have a little bit of freedom
hmm
and the ability to actually do right by yourself and do right by other people, but now in the whole wake of the whole Mayan theory, they're scared that you're going to reach your highest spiritual potential and enlightenment.
hmm
And in that regard, you're a danger.
hmm
So they have to keep your spirit trapped in a state of hell, to say, so to speak, to keep you here, to keep you using guns toward
right.
each other, or to keep you hating yourself and hating other people.
And then even when they started, even in jail, when they started seeing that, people had that individualistic resiliency to still carry on and to still be able to transform themselves and
Or their
read
hunger for knowledge that they
exactly and
have.
get degrees. And I think it was Kiss that said why they stopped letting niggas get degrees in jail. I wonder
Yeah.
why that was.
Mm-hmm.
I really wonder why that was.
Especially there's a lot of jailhouse lawyers too, who write the courts and petition for their rights. So it's just
Definitely.
kind of like they're scared that you're gonna have a spiritual and mental enlightenment.
Exactly. Even how they stopped, and once again, do the research on your own. How they stopped in the mid 1990s. They stopped letting Mumia Abu Jamal have televised interviews or have interviews in any
Mm-hmm.
regard. Chris Hedges recently did a interview with Mumia Abu Jamal, but he wasn't allowed to have any like electronic devices or tape
Mm-hmm.
anything. So he kind of recalled it from memory and transcribed it that way at the meeting with them. But yeah, it's a crazy system, and if you can't see things for what they really are, it'll pass you right on
Mm-hmm.
by. For those that
Exactly.
aren't as awake.
Exactly. So our advice, to you all out there would be, pretty much I would say to change your diet, because it would be virtually impossible for you to pick up on the planetary energies if you aren't consuming foods that's going to give you a higher vibrational frequency. So I would suggest, you start purchasing higher alkaline foods
Mm-hmm.
versus acidic foods. Or your acidic foods are harmful to your body. That's the processed foods,
Definitely.
potato chips, the breads and pizzas, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start eating fresh vegetables, particularly herbs, because herbs have the highest
Mm-hmm.
vibrational frequencies, eat
Mm-hmm.
your greens and
Mm-hmm.
other fruits and vegetables,
Yeah.
you'll feel a difference, because you can't be spiritually in tune and spiritually well if you're physically out of tune.
Exactly.
Because disease is just like a imbalance of energy, pretty much. So you can't
Mm-hmm.
receive, God's higher frequencies if you're physically sick. So that would be my thing.
And for me too, in terms of being physical, I believe that exercise is key.
Mm-hmm.
Any um, aerobic exercise. When you break down the word aerobic, it has a it has a root word that deals with being able to breathe. And I think during this time, this is the time where God is trying to breathe spirit into us.
And
So
breath is life. What is that quote from the Bible? You know what I'm trying to say? Like breath is life or
I'm
something?
not sure. If anybody knows that quote, definitely write it on our page, enlighten us.
Exactly.
This is a forum where we all share knowledge. It's not just us
Mm-hmm.
giving you knowledge, and
Exactly.
we want this to be a open forum of exchanging ideas. But no, I don't know that quote off the top.
That's
But
cool. But I also think that meditation is important too around this time.
definitely.
Since, the sun, with the whole concept of the winter solstice, with the winter solstice, well, actually, with the autumn equinox and the sign of Scorpio, everything kind of, which is between like the end of October and the end of November, everything goes to its death because Scorpio represents the sign of death. And if you think about the fall, everything dies. The trees die, leaves are on the ground. Back in ancient cultures, you weren't producing any crops or any harvest because of the time of the year. But with the winter solstice, it is, I guess, in essence, the birth of the sun, but not the birth of the sun as in Jesus Christ, the S-O-N, but rather the S-U-N, whether you want to call him Horus or Ra, the sun god.
And before we actually get into that, because that's going to lead into our separate topic on the true story of Christmas, additional prescriptions that I wanted to talk about for during this time where the sun is at its lowest from December the 22nd to December the 24th. Yeah, an additional prescription that I would say is that to really take this time and conserve your energy and reflect, because this is a point in time where our energy is already low
because there's a lack of sun,
exactly,
and vitamin D.
Exactly, and we need to conserve that until we start getting more sunlight to return. And we also need to take this time to get right with ourselves, like you said. Holistically, and
I think maybe just meditate on certain things that we want and desire going into the new year, and also just like kind of how we talked about earlier, just having a reflection of the previous year and what experiences and lessons that you've been taught, because life is a journey. And when people talk about the whole concept of enlightenment, it's not just something that you just leave this dimension and go to another dimension, which is sometimes the case, but it's also just about perfecting yourself and kind of like building yourself up and giving yourself love and showing other people love. Also.
I agree, and even if you look at what we do during New Year's, we sing "Auld Lang Syne," and "Auld Lang Syne" it really is. It's a song that really teaches us to reflect, and the point of the song is: do we take the experiences of this past year and take it into the new year, or do we just wipe everything clean, forget about it, and just march on into the new year? And I think that's a question that we really need to ask ourselves during this point in time of the year is, yes, we should take those experiences. Yeah. At least that's my point of view. We should take those experiences within the new year with us, because how can you continue to build if you keep wiping everything clean? You never effectively learn anything. You never effectively consume anything to build off those experiences.
And I think, a lot of people say, okay, well, this year I'm going to lose weight. This year I'm going to be a better mother, I'm going to be a better daughter, be a better father. But, it's also an element of judgment that's, in those New Year's resolutions. So I would think that you would have to kind of start with self-love, realize your shortcomings, and say, hey, I might not have been the best person, the best mother, best father, best daughter, best, sister, or whoever. Recognize those shortcomings and just build off of, all the experiences that life has taught you during the previous year and the years before that. And because once you stop judging yourself, you stop judging other people and you open up your heart to love other people. So I would say do away with the whole New Year's resolutions. That's my thing. Before we get into the second topic,
I say why not even change it into a lifestyle change. I think that's a much better thing. And the last thing, I think one of our prescriptions that I wanted to talk about for this point in time of the year is really take the time not to, if you do have to exert energy, don't take it out, don't exert your energy on materialistic or consumerist type things. Around this time, the system that we're in preaches to us to say, oh, well, you got to buy this and you got to buy that. Our videographer was even sharing with us that, at one point, she was speaking to people and, mothers at the point of where they're crying because they can't have toys or they can't have for their kids what they think in their mind is suitable for their kids, or what they've been told.
Physical,
exactly.
Material possessions.
Whereas the next day in many stores on December the 26th, most of those items are slashed in half or up to 75% off. But we feel as though that because we weren't able to meet that barometer, that we're less than, or that those mothers are less than. So I would implore everybody once again, not to waste your energy on such
Frivolous
materialist,
pursuits.
yeah, and materialist and consumerist notions. Just try and get away from that because this season is not meant for that.
Because you really have to be particular and selective on how you exert your energy, because your energy is very precious. Your energy is what composes, your energetic field, like your vibrational frequencies, which other people, most people call your aura. So I would just be careful in conserving your energy because it is very precious after all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. I'm finished.
I'm finished as well. Look out for our Christmas episode when we'll be talking about the true meaning behind Christmas.
Which will be coming up. This is the sub episode. This will be part 2 of episode 1.
This is kind of like our pilot. So stay tuned.